Hey everyone, it's Arfan here, and welcome back to the Successful Lead Generating Coaches Show. Today I am solo, I'm just going to be talking to you, and I am going to be sharing something that often I see gets missed. And this is really just what gurus won't tell you about paid advertising for coaches. And I've come across a lot of different ads where people advertising Facebook ad services or code or courses or things like that. Or even in programs where they tell you to run ads and they'll give you some things. They'll tell you, you got to test, you got to tweak, things like that. But one of the biggest things I often come across that is missing from this, and a lot of gurus really brush it over because it can make it like, hey, you want to improve marketing, run something really great, get a bunch of people to your webinar and you convert them. They tout the conversion rates, things like that. And often it can be touted as an optimized thing. So the optimized conversion rate for selling a high ticket program live is about 3 to 5%. But the reality is, if you've never really done it before, you can actually get a 1%. You can get something even lower. You can get a 0% conversion. And that's often just not talked about. And when it comes to paid advertising, you have to be realistic as far as, okay, if I'm going to go into ads, if I'm going to be start spending money on ads, how much am I willing to invest to test out this concept, to test out this idea? Not how much am I willing to invest to get X return? Because the truth is, when you go into ads, there's no guarantee you'll get a return. Now, there's experts that are out there, like myself, who've done this for a while, that can give some predictions, things like that, if you convert. But the truth is, there's a lot of factors that really go into that. And I think it's kind of like a little bit of a slice, so to say, just to give conversion percentages and conversions numbers without giving the full reality. Now, I'm a big fan of Alex Hormozi. I think his story is awesome. It shows a lot of just what it takes to just hit put your nose to the metal and just kind of grind and make sure you go after something. And in his one of his most recent book, $100 Million Leads, he explained this really well. And I've mentioned this before. So if you listen to the show, you probably heard me say this before. But one of the things he talks about is that you may fail on your first 9 advertising campaigns, but if you're truly trying to grow your business to multiple 6 figures, to 7 figures, to multiple 7 figures, you need to be willing to experiment and you need to put offers out there, because guess what's going to happen is that you may fail in the first one, two, three, four, five, but when you hit it on that sixth campaign, what's going to happen is that the amount that you are able to scale is going to more than compensate for the losses. So you sometimes have to go through that. And there's no like statistics or percentage where it shows like how many people actually make it happen on their very, very first time going. And I've shared a story before in our own journey with Jojo and I when we started in the coaching world. And, Jojo told me she wants to retire me. And, we really started looking at how we're going to make this happen. And I came on board. I started learning the back end and we started doing ads and same thing too as well. We fell into that same trap of, oh, you're just going to run a launch. You just do a challenge or a masterclass, and you're going to convert X percentage based on your price. And it's going to be awesome. And, with the unknown competence that we had back then, that's the same thing we approached it with. But the reality is that first launch we did, and I ended up taking a week off of work, vacation time, all these things. We were ready to make it happen. We ended up having zero conversions. There was nothing. It was a total bust. And fortunately, Jojo had the wisdom to ask for feedback from one of her friends that was a business peer, so to say, that was in the group, and we got some amazing feedback around what we could have done differently to actually make it work. And we repeated that same thing about 3 to 4 weeks later, and that was the launch that allowed me to say, okay, this is it. This works. We got some pretty good income. Let's pull the trigger on leaving that corporate job and going full time into online business. But that doesn't happen for everyone. And a lot of people sometimes they can go into a launch and then it fails and they're a year, 2 years into it where they're like they haven't done anything again because they're still feeling that failure from that first one because they didn't get the right the right feedback or even the right understanding from the beginning to know that, hey, this may not work and we have to, and I say this a lot. I talk a lot about experiment mentality. And it's something where, we do have to have that experiment mentality. We do have to have that resilience to know that if I try something and it doesn't work, that doesn't mean it's the end all. It doesn't mean we have to stop. It doesn't mean that this strategy or tactic doesn't work. It means we have to look at the facts and look at the stats and see, okay, well, what do we need to tweak and adjust to make it convert? Because if you do any live training or live launch or webinar masterclass, and you get people to sign up and you get people to show up, but they don't purchase, hey, you got legs on something. You have something that is actual tangible, something that has the potential to actually change the game for you, right? One of my mentors, Anik Singhal, he said, one good webinar can change the trajectory of your business. And that goes back to the same thought of what Alex Hormozy said, and that you may fail on your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 campaign, but that 10th one or so, that's going to more than make up for it. It's the same thing, because once you're able to start seeing, hey, I can convert. Wow, I did get a 3% conversion on here. Let me do this again. Let me plan this again 2 months. And this is how you start now. Say, hey, this works. Let me turn this evergreen. Now you have a machine that starts working on autopilot. And it does take some time to get there. And it takes some understanding experience to also know how to get there. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, if you're not in a position to go hire an agency, don't hire an agency. I'm a big, I run an agency. I'm a big believer that you may not be ready to hire an agency unless you have an understanding of really how to work well with that agency, right? How to be able to see, okay, this is BS. This is, they're doing a good job. They're not doing a good job. And I highly recommend that everyone has an understanding of the advertising platform you're going to go on, or at least have a team member or someone who does. So that way, when you're putting funds behind it, especially if you're going to put something substantial, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 15, 20,000. I was talking to someone and potential that they wanted to work with me, but they were in a huge hole, right? They were in a huge hole. They was working with someone, and they understood ads, but they were out the game for a little bit. And what ended up happening was they were just trusting this person, and they ended up spending a large, high five-figure amount on ads. Come to find out that the ads weren't running to the ideal client, the copy, the messaging, everything wasn't really going. And it was an extremely costly mistake and put them in a huge hole where they actually had to make a severe changes to their business. And that trajectory and that path they were going on had to end up, being changed just because that one launch didn't go that way. So I'm a big believer that if you need to take the time to learn, take the time to learn. And it's also why I created my program called Ads Conquered. Ads Conquered is a done with you training program. I take 3 months and I work with you to take your confidence from whatever you are, 0, a 1, 2, 3 in running ads, to get you up to that 7, 8, 9, 10, to where you say, I'm very confident that I could do this on my own. I'm very confident that I can train a team member, and I'm very confident that I'm ready to now hire an agency and to know that if this agency is doing a good job or not. And you'll know it just from the onboarding, just from the way they onboard you, if they're going to do a good job or not, because you now have that back end knowledge of what it takes to make advertising work and what it needs. And it's something that I do believe that eventually all businesses typically will bring in-house the things that they were freelancing first. So if you're freelancing graphic design, eventually you're going to bring that in-house. You're going to have a permanent graphic designer, someone that's just solely working with your business, or they're dedicating 20, 30 hours a week to your business, or something like that, because you're producing enough content where you need that. Or you're doing enough ads where you're running multiple opt-ins and freebies and live offers and events, and you have someone that's in-house that can handle that for you, because again, there's 20, 30 hours a week of support that's needed, and you have that person to really help you out. So just some thoughts, my opinions, so to say, on really what I see that a lot of gurus don't really take the time to tell us about paid advertising, especially in the coach's niche. And the other thing too is, when you go into advertising, you get that allure of Facebook giving you all these recommendations and things like that. And that's where it's also important to be able to know and understand how to navigate the system, to know, like, hey, am I falling for a money trap? A money trap meaning that they're giving me a suggestion or a recommendation to do this right here. But in reality, is that best for coaching business? Because the way Facebook advertising and the platform is developed, is broad, right? They're those platforms to reach to help everybody advertise, right? They generate billions of dollars in advertising and from people advertising. So essentially, their platform is for e-commerce. Someone's selling supplements, someone is selling clothing, someone is selling books, and all these different type of thing. In addition to coaching programs, coaching offers. So it's not a one size fit all. That recommendation not really going to apply to maybe your lead generation ad, or it's not going to apply to your self liquidating offer that you're going to be promoting, whichever the case is, right? So, really take the time to get that understanding, see what works, see what's really going to that's going to really make things move for your business. And when I say what's going to really make things move for your business, it's really what the audience is responding to at a larger scale. So when you put an advertisement out there, when you put a marketing offer out there, well, what's your audience saying? Was a free offer or a paid offer? If you're doing anything like that, you want to be able to see what that's going to look like, and that gives you better understanding too as well. If you were working agency and you're the one producing the content, to be able to know, okay, is this going to be something viable or not? And sometimes that's the case. You may take a little bit of time. You create an offer, maybe do the market research, and you get that's the important part is to do the market research to know what the audience actually wants, because you can create something, put it out there, and you see your ads flop. And if there was no prior market research on, hey, what does my audience want to even attend? What kind of masterclass would they want to join? What kind of webinar would they want to join? What kind of ebook do they want to purchase or consume? You can create something based off your own thoughts and logic. And what ends up happening is that it doesn't advertise well. And it can be weeks and months and effort into creating something. So do that market research first. So there's lots to really go in here, lots of stuff that often gets missed. And I see these kind of mistakes happen a lot just because the lack of bigger coaching programs, or just those who are more popular in the space, or not fully getting the full picture of what it takes to go into Facebook advertising. And a lot of money can get wasted. I've audited accounts where these coaches are $9, 10, $15,000 in ad spend that they've just spent on their own over 2.5 years or even a year, and really nothing to show for it. And they know it works. And the thing is, the reason why they know it works, they see someone else doing it, they see peers doing it. They have a coach that they work with that they found through an ad, and they may have gotten some initial type of thing where they put something out there, someone booked a call, they end up closing the client, but it was just one out of end up getting a 0.2 return on ad spend or something like that. So they want to be able to generate better and better results. So we know it works, we know the lure is there, and honestly, this is a great way to also buy back your time when you make this work. The reason why we start a coaching business in the first place, or start any business in the first place, is typically to do things a little differently. Whether we want to take care of our family, we want to make enough income that's going to give us the lifestyle freedom, the time freedom, and the ability to enjoy the life that the way we want to enjoy it. These are often some of the reasons why we start a business, but we can get a little bogged down in just doing things organically and just having that hustle mentality of always being on, even when we're trying to be present with our family. And advertising is a great way to now take that away, because what happens is that you can actually you take away that organic grind that need to constantly be on, and you have an automated system, so you can actually set a better schedule for yourself to say, just hour 2 hours a day, I'm going to focus on organic, and the rest of the day I have the opportunity to create content, I have the opportunity to um, show up better for my clients, show up better for my family, whatever the case may be. So go and take that approach. I would definitely recommend to if you are interested in learning more about potentially working together to learn ads, or even if you're ready to have someone take over ads for you, you have an understanding of it, you're ready to get back more of your time to be focused on the content, focus on delivering your services, but you want to generate leads consistently, you want to fill your launches up, and you want to be able to do it in a way where um is being done more thoughtfully. There's more A/B testing. There's things that's happening, so you can actually see tangible results, and you can be able to grow from launch to launch. Let's schedule a time to chat. Just arfanhusain.com/start. That's a free 30-minute call. We do a little strategy call. We look at what you got going on and see what's the best way we can kind of work together. If there is not a way for us to work together right now, I'll give my suggestions as far as where we need to be. And it's very, very casual. So not a huge sales call or anything like that. So um uh if that's something that's interesting to you, just let's schedule that call. Let's have a conversation. Let's chat. But other than that, I hope this conversation today has been helpful to you, especially if you're thinking about how you can expand and grow your coaching business, how you can really look to put yourself out there at a greater level, and you want to do it in a way where you're not going to waste money, you're not going to overspend or things like that. So some warnings, so to say, if you see touting around where they make it sound overly easy, or something that's just you put $1 and you get $2 out. That can happen. It does happen. It happens over. I have multiple accounts where we see that happening. $1, $2, $1 in, $2 out, $1 in, $3 out, $1 in, $10 out. But it took time, it took testing to get there. So, again, my name is Arfan. Thanks for tuning in to the Successful Lead Generating Coaches Show. Please don't forget to subscribe to the show, give us a review, give us a rating if you find it valuable, and also share with a friend if you think it might be helpful to them. And other than that, I will talk to you on the next episode. Have a great one.